Hey guys, I want to talk to you about my nephew who's in Provo Canyon School right now as we speak. So I don't even know where to start. So he got taken into CPS custody. My sister was having some mental health issues, and she had to go to a hospital and get some help there. And they decided to, I was trying to drive with his stepdad and go pick up my nephew. Well, they decided to go ahead and gank him and say, nope, you can't come pick him up from the police department. It's going to take you too long because you're from Washington and Utah is 17 hours away. So we're just going to go ahead and slam him into CPS custody. So from there, I get a subpoena to court and I'm forced to testify against my sister, which I did not want to do because I love my sister and she has not made the best decisions in her life, but I know that she's been going through a lot. We just lost our mom about 2 years ago, and she lost her best friend, like her very best friend, and before that she lost another friend, like really back to back, like 3 in a row. To top that all off, she had a property and she had some things going on, and then with battling with all that, she was just having a really hard time keeping up after she built this really cool house of her own and got this property. So she was just really going through it as far as you know every level of stress you could imagine and trying to kind of keep a hold of things. So she hasn't made the greatest decisions, but I definitely don't ever want to testify against her, and I wanted us to be family. And so I really felt like CPS kind of turned us against each other in this time where we really should have been coming together for my nephew. So Logan was having a problem adjusting to the foster homes. He wasn't getting along with the other kids, and apparently he was swearing, which is kind of funny because, well, it's not funny, but, when we were younger, when he was younger, we would say, you don't swear in front of your elders ever. That was like a rule, because we'd catch him, slipping up a little cuss word here and there. And we'd tell him, you're not supposed to cuss, but especially don't cuss in front of your elders. So the whole time Logan's been alive for 12 years, I've never heard him cuss, ever. But my little sister has, who's 17, and I was kind of shocked to hear what she was telling me when I wasn't home. I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. She was like, yeah, he was cussing up a storm. 12 years old. Okay. Kids cuss. Not a great trait, but definitely not, prosecution status. So they put him into Provo Canyon School. They did the same thing that every survivor I've watched a video has talked about. Hold on, I gotta plug my phone in. They isolated him for 2 weeks. No phone calls in, no phone calls out. Right after the court hearing, they said, thank you very much for your testimony. I tried to say as little as possible. And that'll be all we need. And I said, man, I can get him out. I can get him out. He was just so worn down by the time he got there, and he just wanted to go home. And it was just really sad to watch my nephew go from these foster homes and them, being like he's a problem child because, first off, who wouldn't be a problem child? He just watched his mom go to a hospital through a cop car. And he got his little dog Nala ripped out of his arms, which was his best friend. And it's like, who doesn't expect a type of emotion from all that? And he just wants to go home. And so they peg him as a bad kid. And they say, thank you very much for your testimony. And boom, he's in this school. So when the social worker was telling me about the school, I randomly watched a documentary about Paris Hilton, almost like a week or two before. 5 days before or something, just randomly it came across my feed. It was like the universe going, oh, you need to know this information because they're going to screw your nephew. Okay, so the social worker, mind you, says that, oh, he's going to this boarding school. This boarding school, it's great, And I'm going, oh, well, okay, A school? Oh, cool. Okay. That sounds... A boys' school? Nice. Is he going to get some counseling until I can, like, you know, fill out this home study stuff? And, you know, do they got there? Oh, yes, they have therapy. They have therapy. It's called Provo Canyon School. And I'm like, why does that sound familiar? And she goes, oh, I don't know. And I go, no, that doesn't sound... Why is that making me feel weird? Why does that school sound familiar? And she goes, oh, well, it's the same school Paris Hilton trying to shut down. My nephew went in there like 5 days after the survivors protested, or somewhere around there. And now my nephew's in this school, right? 2 weeks go by, and I'm just sick. I'm like sick to my stomach watching all these videos. Meanwhile, they convinced my sister, who's already really emotional stressed, and now to add all the other things on top of it, someone's captured her child. So as a mom, she's probably going through it. And, you know, they capture her in a really vulnerable state, and they say, oh, this is going to be great for him. This is going to be great for him. And, oh, that's just old news. That's old news, man. Like, it's different now. New owners. So my sister is wrapped up into this, you know, and she's like, I believe in this school. He needs this school. You know, I told them this is great. You should be on board too. Stop trying to get him out. I'm going to go ahead and do what I got to do. And respect my, you know, wishes and, you know, support me in this. And I keep trying to tell her friend, hey, man, hey, there's so many allegations on this school, man. This is not good. This is not good. We need to work together here. We need to be on the same board. And she said, no. I'm the mom. I make the rules. I know what's best. And I'm trying to tell her, hey, just watch the videos. Just watch them all. Just watch every single one of them. 2019, a little girl was injected with Haridol. How recent is that for you? Is that recent enough for you? Okay, Paris Hilton went in there back in the day. 2019, a girl's being assaulted, this and that, right? Well, maybe if they're under heat or whatever, you know, they're going to be doing things different. And they have a good thing, and they told me. And I met with staff, and they're so kind, and they're so nice, and they're gonna you know, help him, and then that way I can get my therapy and he can get his, and everything's gonna be okay, and it's gonna be great. No, man. No. I don't agree with you. Next thing you know, we argue, and I say, if you don't get him out of there, I'm not talking to you no more. Get him out of there. This is not fair to him. He didn't do nothing wrong. Get him out. Freaking out, you know. And now we don't talk. So, there goes that. And, you know, it sucks because the entire 2 weeks my nephew couldn't talk to anybody and isolated. I was just bawling every night. I actually shut down my job for a minute. Like, I own a company and I shut it down because I couldn't even go to work barely. Like, my stomach was just hurting. I was just crying because I just kept thinking of him crying and how scared he must be and like what he must be feeling and thinking. And I didn't even get to say goodbye. I didn't even get to tell him, hey, be good, be careful. And I tried to warn him too. As soon as I found out what that school was, I tried to call him on the cell phone I bought him. Hey, do whatever they say. Do whatever they say or they'll punish you. Just do whatever they say. Just listen. Just whatever they say, do it or they'll hurt you. He goes in there. I finally get a phone call from him. After 2 weeks, I wrote him a letter and he says, how did you know how to find me? That was the first thing he said to me. How did you know I was here? How did you know how to find me? So the entire 2 weeks my nephew was in there, he didn't know if me or his mom knew how to find him. I can't even imagine how scary and traumatizing that would be for a 12-year-old kid to get kidnapped, And then they think their family doesn't know how to find them, or that they're even in there, or it's like, I'm sorry, did he do something so bad that you have to make him feel like a prisoner? Like, that's just like madness. It's like absolutely madness. Like, to do that to a foster kid, and not just him, all the foster kids in there. How are they supposed to call out for help? Okay, so out of control teen and the parents decide, right? Okay, that's one thing. And even then, it's still wrong from everything I've heard. This program sucks. But these are foster children who have no voice, nobody helping them. And what if it was my nephew? What if my sister didn't tell me? Or what if something had happened and they didn't know how to contact us, or maybe a kid came from a broken home, like a foster kid came from a bad house or a bad home, and maybe like they knew that their neighbor's mom always said that she would take them in. How does that kid know how to call that neighbor's mom if they don't know the number? Or to be able to figure out how to call them, and then the mom doesn't know what happened to the kid. They think like, oh, they just moved or something, and that kid's just trapped there, until they age out or whatever. Like, it's super sick. Super sickening. And yeah, so my nephew said, I got your letter because I drew him a little picture of Stitch, and he said that was the only thing that gave me hope. My nephew, who's done nothing wrong, that was the only thing that gave me hope. I know you'll fight for me. I know you'll get me out of here. Like he's a prisoner already. So 2 weeks go by and you say you're at therapeutic school, right? We're a therapeutic school. Then why is my nephew saying my letter getting him out of little kitty prison is the only thing that gave him hope? If you guys are giving him therapy, why isn't he telling me what he's learning? Why isn't he telling me, hey man, they told me I was going to be in here. They're really helping me. Why wasn't he saying nothing positive? He was saying, gave me hope that I got your jail letter. That right there alone tells you guys suck. You guys are horrible people. I call CPS and I say, why is my nephew in there? He's done nothing wrong. I know he's not been an angel. I know he was swearing, and I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry, but I am more than willing to take him. Please send him home. It's a really good school. The judge ordered it. So now they're pointing fingers at each other, saying like, oh, it's not our fault, it's their fault, it's not our... No one taking accountability. And I said, this is wrong. My nephew was scared. He's been through enough. Why is he here? Well, he just has to do it, and the home study's going to take that. Like, no, man. You can't just take a child from a family and then imprison them. So, my sister's wrapped up into this. My nephew's trapped in little kitty prison. And, our first conversation, he's saying that's what gave me hope. So I say, I watch all these documentaries, and I said, Logan, are they medicating you? And he goes, no, I'm only on fish pills. I'm not on all the meds like the other kids. I said, alright, that's good. Because I already know. I already read everything about it. I fucking made myself sick watching every video. And the lady behind him, and I was like, you mofo, you terrible person. She goes, oh, you're not on meds yet? Oh, okay. And from that freaking moment, right when she did that, I knew that my nephew was going to be medicated. My perfectly healthy nephew was going to be medicated. So a couple days later, they say, oh, well, he needs some clothes. And I said, what? I just bought him like $200 worth of clothes before he left. Well, your sister hasn't made it down yet. Okay, I'll call her. So I mail him some clothes, and I contact Idaho CPS, and I said, hey, I heard you guys, right before he left, I just got him like $200 worth of clothes, to help my sister out, and be a good aunt or whatever, so now I'm going to buy more clothes, that's fine, but, I've got him some more clothes. I got him like, 4 shirts and 4 pants and some undies and his shoes. Oh, by the way, when they tell you what you can give the kids, good school, right? What they tell you what you can get the kids, they said, oh, you can get him clothes, but no black and no shoes with shoelaces. And I said, they can't wear black? And I was like, is that part of your, like, therapy? Like, is that because you want them to wear, like, light colors for, like, emotional haikus? Like, you want everybody to be, like, uplifted with their light-colored clothes? No, they can't have black because they try to blend in the night and run away. They try to blend in the night and run away. Okay, your school's real great. Why are the kids trying to run away? Why are they trying to run away? And it doesn't take a genius to guess why they can't have shoelaces. You know, and it's just like, man, everything is in black and white right in front of you. You can see everything. So the next conversation I have with my nephew, I said, hey man, how you doing? And he said, I'm doing okay. Been under a lot of stress. Any good news? Like he's a businessman. Like he's trying to negotiate his situation. Like he's trying to figure his own shit out. And I said, I'm still waiting for this home study. I wish someone would just call me in Washington. I don't know why it takes so long, and I'm so sorry. I wish I could speed this up. And I've been calling him every day and trying to figure out how to speed it up. And I do. I call him every day. And now finally it's here. But it's like a bucket load of paperwork, which is fine. I'll turn it in like immediately. So, I tell him, I wish I could tell you a definitive date, man. Like, I wish I could say, like, in a week or in 2 weeks I'll be getting you out, but I don't have. And he said, well, as long as I know you're fighting for me, I have hope. And even if it takes a month or 2 months, I'll make sure to survive in here. Mind you, my nephew has never watched any of these Survivor videos. Like, I just watched it, a few days before he went in. He's never seen any of your guys' Survivor videos. And he says, I'll survive. Okay. Alright, good. Make sure you do what they say, okay? And I have to be careful what I say. Because they're listening. You can hear them typing. You can, they're in the room. He's always looking up at them. And, so the first time, we talk, he talks about the letter. And then he later tells me he got punched in the stomach by a kid a bunch of times. And so I kind of try to use that as leverage to get him out of there. I was like, he's been assaulted! Normally if he got in a fight at school, I'd be like, okay, man, what happened between you two? And I'd even maybe call the parents, see if they could work it out or talk it out. One of my bullies was my best friend till I'm 30 years old now. So, I would look at it differently if he was out, in the regular school or something. But I was just like, he's been assaulted by the other kid! Blah! And just trying to use that as, like, leverage to try to get him out and put pressure on, CPS people to get him out. And they didn't even care, man. They didn't care that he got put hands on. And so the second time I talked to him, I find out that, he said him and another boy were getting into it. And I said, what do you mean? And he was like, well, I didn't punch him or anything. I was just trying to push him away from me because he pushed me, so I was pushing him back. And all these kids were grabbing me or something. Like, it started sounding like a little bit of a brawl or something, or like maybe the kids were crowding around or something. And he said, and staff slammed me against a wall. And I said, what? And he said, yeah, staff slammed me against a wall. And it hurt pretty bad, but, I get why. And I said, well, Logan, hey, man, like, I don't think staff's supposed to touch you like that. And, I want to yell at the lady in there. I want to say, fuck you, why are you letting people touch my nephew? Staff ain't supposed to do that. Like, why is there so many fights in this school? Why are the kids, how is it getting like this when it's a little enclosed school? I went there. It's a little enclosed school with little, they try to make it all discreet with their little jail bars. in their little courtyard. The courtyard looks like a freaking, for prison, because it's got like a little fence all the way around it. And, so, I called the governor, or like, I didn't call the governor, I wrote the governor, I wrote Paris Hilton, I wrote every news station I could think of, I wrote every freaking person I could think of, and, basically, like, from there, I just kept trying to, like, push and try to, I was hoping that, because Paris Hilton's story or whatever, like, came out, I thought, like, someone would see it and someone could help us and someone could help him and, like, have his rights be heard, or, I was just really hoping I could use that and, like, try to get him out of there, because, like, they're really making it impossible, and every time I would call him, I mean, there were so many days that went by, at first it was like, oh, he doesn't get calls for 2 weeks because he's in stabilization, and then it's like, oh, well, you can only talk to him once a week with our therapy session, and we'll make a spot for you, or something like that, and then it turned into, oh, he can get calls after stabilization, after the 2-week period of time, and then you can call him, but he can't call you, and then it turned into something else. So, on top of that, there was a week that went by when they started calling me at different times, different days, and I told them, hey, I need to know, like, what day, so I can make sure to take my whole day and schedule that free, because I missed one of his calls, and I was, like, devastated. I, like, emailed her, like, I called her back, like, I was working, and I missed one of their calls, because they didn't, like, tell me what day or whatever, and I was working, and so I called her, like, 30 minutes back, like, 30 minutes late, called her back, or later, and she was just, like, not responding. Oh, she's in another session. I said, what does that mean? I just snooze, you lose? Like, snooze, you lose, and, like, Logan doesn't get to talk to me? Like, that's how it goes? And I'm like, can't we just make, can't we do something, or make one tomorrow, or reschedule? Oh, no, you have to wait till your session next week. So I went, like, a whole nother week before I got to talk to him again. So at this point, when they did that shit, like, I drove all the way down to Utah. And I'm from Tacoma. I drove all the way to Utah. I have, like, a TikTok. You guys can check that out. I don't know, like, what the name is. My name is Trisha Leon, but, like, I don't know how to find me on TikTok because I'm not that cool yet. But, so, when Logan was sitting there telling me, about staff putting hands on him and stuff, I reacted my way. I was, like, just being cool with it. Like, hey, that doesn't sound right, but trying to be really mellow, like I didn't care. Or not like I didn't care to him, but, like, just really mellow about it, like, oh, man, that's too bad, like, well, don't be fighting with people, remember what I said, just do what they tell you, and, don't be fighting, and follow the rules, okay? And that's not cool, like, he shouldn't have done that, but, but, like, just a very mellow tone. So, like, but as he was trying to tell me that staff, put hands on him, I say, like, so what happens, like, when you guys fight? And he goes, you go to stables. And I said, what stables? And he goes, it's this room that, blah, blah, blah. And then she was like, no, Logan. And he keeps looking over at her. And I said, what? A room that what? And I'm just waiting for him to say, the isolation room that you guys show in your videos. And I'm just thinking, like, you mother effers, like, you don't have no right to, like, I mean, you, as a caregiver, you cannot lock up your clients, even if they fight each other, the only time you can do that is, like, in prison, or juvie, but even then, it's, like, the juvenile detention kids, they get, like, calls every day, they get a call a day, they get to write their letters, and that's another thing, too, make sure to write my nephew, like, every single week, like, to make sure the letters come in consistently. So, like, I know I can't talk to him but one time a week, but then I want to write him a letter every single week so he has one a week, at least. Or sometimes I write him twice a week when I'm sad. And he shows me his letters, and he's only got, like, 3 letters. And I'm like, bro, you're missing, like, a lot of letters. Where are the other letters? Well, I don't know. And then the lady's going, oh, I don't know. Oh, that's weird because he got my clothes and he got my other 2 letters, and why all of a sudden he's not getting my letters? You tell me. Tell me why he's not getting my letters. And I'm not even... I know they're reading them. I know they read them. I'm not dumb. So it's not like I'm putting anything in there that, like, you know, F them or they're bad people. I don't, like, talk about my sister or talk about, anything bad. I'm just trying to be there for him, Like, I'm very careful how I do things. So then he tells me, so I say, okay, so I keep going past this other part. So I say, okay, well, what happens, what happens in stables then? And he goes, well, sometimes in stables, if you fight there, they'll just let you duke it out. And I said, what? And he said, yeah, the staff told me that when I had to go. And then the lady's going, no, Logan, that can't happen here. That's not allowed. No, Logan, that doesn't happen here. No. And I could hear her in the background, like, telling him, no, shh, no. And he's going, yes, it does. I saw it. It does. I'm not lying. And he starts, like, getting all worked up, and he's, like, messing with his little bracelet. He had this, like, little, like, anxiety bracelet or something. The whole time, like, that's weird. He didn't have to have an anxiety bracelet at my house. And he's starting to fidget with this thing, like, just super uncomfortable. I feel like I'm looking at him, he's, like, crawling out of his skin. Like, I see his whole body language every time we're on the stupid Zoom meeting. And it makes me so mad because, when he got put hands on, I called Utah CPS. And they've actually been really cool. They were, like, helping investigate it. But the Idaho people who, like, sent him there, they're like, oh, I hope that's not happening. I said, what do you mean you hope it's not happening? You got 24 hours to go investigate it. Well, Utah's, this many hours away. Well, then why is he not in Utah custody? Why is he not in Utah CPS? Why is he with you? Transfer it. So, I finally get pissed off because I'm, like, trying to find every single loophole I can find. Writing the governor, writing all these people, writing news stations. Like, I kept thinking these news stations were going to take the story and that would, like, throw some heat on them because they keep saying, like, oh, this is old. It's old. No, it's not old. It's right now. They're still doing it. It's not changed. Nothing has changed about Provo Canyon School. My nephew's telling me, he's trying to tell me, and they're shushing him. They're not giving him my letters. They're telling my sister, it's a good school. And, I go all the way down there and I sit down with the lady and she looked at me like I was crazy and she said, why are you here? And I said, why would I not be here? You guys ignore my calls. So here I am. What can I do? What can I do to get him out? He's not happy there. He's suffering. Every time I see him, blah, blah, blah. And I tell her the whole freaking bit. And she just like, oh, it's hard for them to adjust, You just have to be patient. He's just adjusting. And everybody was making me feel crazy. Like I was the only one that was, like, acknowledging the inhumaneness of the whole thing, or like I'm just like an overreactive helicopter ant, that's just overreacting, and this school's really good and they're giving him this therapy. Well, tell me why the next time I talk to my nephew, he's being medicated. And he's not just being, like, remember when I said I was a caregiver? It's called Respidol. We used to give Respidol to our clients that couldn't stop jumping because, like, it would hurt their knees. And it was almost like really necessary to do it because we didn't want them to have, like, no cartilage in their knees, or like maybe they would bang their head on walls and stuff like that. And it was something to relax them. It was like a downer. It's like more of like a sedative type of drug where it calms you. And for those clients that were hurting themselves due to, like, not their fault twitches and things like that, like, for them, like, okay. And maybe that's not even right because, looking at it now, I'm like, God, they can't talk, some of them. Maybe we shouldn't, maybe no one should be doing that to them either. But in the end of the day, like, us good caregivers, like, we really care. And, We're not just like, give this person something to like chill them out. Like, it's like, hey man, they're gonna like tear up their knees. Like, how can we help them alleviate that? But yeah. So Risperdal, if you guys don't know what that is, it's typically prescribed for people with bipolar, like severe bipolar disorder, schizophrenia. Schizophrenia, yeah. That's another one it's used for. And like severe mood disorders. And when I had said something to his father about it, his father cried because I guess his father had like some sort of depression or something like that when he was younger, and they decided to prescribe him that also, which I didn't know. And I'm sure you guys are going to argue, oh, if his dad needed it, he needed it. Can't be two in a row, like, but his dad, like, cried, you know, and he said, like, Trish, you feel nothing. I felt nothing. And my nephew doesn't have, you know, my nephew's been with me for a long time on and off, you know, just hanging out. And, you know, right before my sister moved, he was with me for like about a month on and off, you know, so she could like pack her stuff and stuff. And my nephew doesn't have ADHD or, or it's for autism. He doesn't have autism. He knows what emotions are, how to feel. He doesn't have ADHD. He opens his own computer and like engages with his teacher, sits down with her and like is listening, and they'll ask him a question. And I was like really impressed with him when I saw him on his like laptop for school, because he was so independent and so like just doing his work, like. And I just thought, wow, like you're doing good, kid. You know, my little sister is 17. You know, sometimes I'll be like, yeah, you are. You know, but she's really good too, then, and she'll stay up. She'll do her stuff. But I just never seen a kid that young. You know, if Kira or even me, you know, being that young, you know, maybe we would need somebody to like tell us like to get on our homework, or hey, you need to open your laptop now. But he would just do it on his own. He'd take my trash out to be nice. You know, take my dog out to go potty. You know, he was teaching his little dog potty training. Like, he's just a regular kid, man. And yeah, he's got some anger. He's been through some stuff. Who blames him? It's nothing that outpatient counseling, you know, talking about your feelings and being able to express your feelings, stuff like that, wouldn't help. You know, and there's so many different type of therapies. Like, if one wouldn't work, maybe another, you know, get him into like sports, jiu-jitsu or something, you know, where he had a male figure in his life, like, you know, shining that light. And then going back to church, like, he liked going to church. That was another thing. He's a church kid. He goes to church. How can you be bad when you're a church kid of like, oh, God, and stuff? Like, he's a good kid, man. Like, I don't even go to church. Like, I'm not very religious, but he goes to church. And he likes church, and he's like, Auntie, you need to go to church. And I'm like, it's not for me. But